Coming up on today's show, Miami takes a 2-1 series lead against Oklahoma City. James Harden becomes the center of criticism for Oklahoma, and Webb Simpson becomes a household name in the game of golf. All that and more coming up on the good, the bad, the Teskey.
Oklahoma City's offense has gone south in this second half. Westbrook for three. Off the mark. That will do it. Miami with a hard-fought 91-85 victory.
So Game 3 took place in South Beach, and the series will be there the next 2 games. And if you are an Oklahoma City Thunder fan, you did not like what you saw last night at the American Airlines Center as the Oklahoma City Thunder fell behind 2-1 at the hands of the Miami Heat. And they look like a rejuvenated bunch. This looks like a team right now that has been there, they've done that, and they now know what it takes when their backs are up against the wall. Oklahoma City had that really good Game 1 on their home court. They went in and they beat them in Game 2, and that seems to have carried over here into Game 3 as they opened up in front of a sellout crowd, all dressed in white, and giving Oklahoma City fans a run for their money. The Heat fans were great last night in the 91-85 victory for the Miami Heat, and it's not a series until somebody wins on the road. Miami has already done that. They are in the driver's seat right now. And again, LeBron James had a good game, almost had his 3rd straight finals game for 30 points, ended up finishing with 29. I'll still give it to him anyway. I think the guy was a beast last night. And again, really gave Kevin Durant a lot of trouble yesterday. Durant got into foul trouble again late in the second half, had to sit for a while, and it happened to him in Game 2 as well. He had 5 fouls in the 4th quarter, played well down the stretch with those 5 fouls, but still having that on your back in the 4th quarter, you don't want your stars to be carrying that kind of weight like Durant was. And LeBron James' defense has been superb. And right now, I give him the nod for the best player in the game over Kevin Durant just from his first 3 games and the way LeBron has carried his team, been the leader, been the guy having the biggest voice in the huddle and stuff like that. He has been phenomenal for the Miami Heat. The thing I'm questioning, though, for Scotty Brooks, the coach, there's a point there late in the second half where Durant's in foul trouble, so you take Durant out. But you also take Russell Westbrook out. And they took both of these guys out of the game for about 5 minutes. And they had Cephalosha on the floor. They had Ibaka. And they were putting a lot of their offense in James Harden's hands. And James Harden that game, if you watched him, was struggling. He's really kind of struggled in this series in general as well. And has not been, up to his usual self that we've been accustomed to seeing in the NBA playoffs the last couple seasons. So they take their biggest stars, Durant and Westbrook, out for 5 minutes. Even though they were up by 10, I still think you have to keep one of them in there running the offense, because James Harden last night, if you watched him, failed to run the offense on his own. And that brings us to the bad portion of this program. So in 34 minutes of playing time last night, James Harden only had 9 points, was 0 for 4 from three-point land, and didn't have that spark that the Thunder need when they bring him off the bench. This is why he was voted the 6th man of the year. In Game 2, he had 21 points, was much more efficient from beyond the arc, but he just didn't have that same tenacity in Game 3. And that was the key, I think, for Miami. They knew to zero in on Harden, and I think they just really kind of flaunted his mistakes yesterday and took advantage of the star players for Oklahoma City sitting on the bench. And there's a big stretch there, I think, that really swung in Miami's favor and ended up costing Oklahoma City the game. And the one play I'm looking at was late in the game. Oklahoma City, again, made it close. They made it a game. Had a nice little comeback there at the end, making Miami sweat, making them nervous. but there was a play there with 16.2 seconds left. Is only down by 3. And they made a decision as a team. Scotty Brooks told them not to foul and elect for Miami to take that final shot, hoping that they would miss and leaving them about 6 or 7 seconds on the clock for them to go for the tying 3. So James Harden is guarding LeBron James, didn't foul, almost stole the ball from him on this play, but then played too aggressive on defense, ended up fouling James with 16.2 seconds left, putting James to the line. James went 1 for 2 on the free throws, making it a 2-possession game and icing the game. And if Harden lays off James and forces James to make that last shot, the way James has played with the ball in his hands in the fourth quarter, you have to let him take the shot and allow your team enough time to go for the tying 3. When they were up by 4, there was simply not enough time for Oklahoma City to get 2 quick baskets and come back and tie this game. That, to me, was the deciding factor of the game. I think James Harden will rebound from this. Just a bad game by him. This puts Miami up 2-1. And just a quick stat for you. Teams that have won game 3 have went on to win 85% of the NBA Finals. But another quick fact, too. Miami was also up 2-1 on Dallas last year and didn't win a game the rest of the series. Oklahoma City is a team capable of winning consecutive games in a row in the playoffs. They've proven that this year. They were down 2-0 against San Antonio, which at the time was one of the hottest teams in the NBA, and they came back to win 4 straight. So don't count out Oklahoma City. I think this series is still going to go 7. Game 4 is tomorrow in Miami. I think Oklahoma City comes back and they tie this series. And now it's time for the Teskey. So I was flipping between this game last night and the U.S. Open. Now, the U.S. Open got bumped back to a later time on TSN because of Euro and how Euro took up most of the afternoon. So the U.S. Open went late into the evening, and I was flipping between the NBA Finals and golf, and I'm glad I was watching more of the golf because what I was seeing unfold was simply outstanding. You had the 42-year-old Jim Furyk. He had led since Friday. He was chasing his first major championship since he won the U.S. Open back in 2003. Furyk has never been a high-profile guy. He won the 2010 Player of the Year award, but he has a really sort of unheard-of swing. And people, who are close to Jim Furyk and are fans of Jim Furyk, they call him the grinder and the businessman because he just gets stuff done. He's efficient. He's not too flashy. And yesterday, for the longest time, heading into about the 14th hole, Jim Furyk was set up to be the first U.S. Open winner to not hit a birdie on his final round. Then came the likes of Webb Simpson, a guy who had only been on the tour for about 4 years, and his highest finish in a PGA championship before this U.S. Open was 16th. But did he ever come from nowhere yesterday to surprise Jim Furyk? So Simpson had 4 birdies in a 5-hole stretch that really kind of put him back in the talk amongst the leaderboard, and he had a really clutch par on 18th that really saved himself from being eliminated. Then he had to sit in the clubhouse and watch Jim Furyk and Graham McDowell continue to play. They were both partners on the day, and they both had a shot to win it on 18. The thing that put Jim Furyk further back and cost him the victory yesterday was his shot on 16. It was his tee shot. It went all the way into the bushes over near the spectators. He bogeyed that hole. That is what put him behind. And for Jim Furyk at age 42, he's got to be kicking himself that that shot might have cost him his last chance at a major. But Webb Simpson, again, now we've heard of golf and the amount of parity that is in the game of golf. Rory McIlroy, one of the guys who people are touting as the next phenom, didn't even qualify for the U.S. Open. He missed the cut. And now you have another champion here. Now you have the 9th first-time major winner here in golf. And you got to feel a lot of people were watching the U.S. Open more closely this year because Tiger Woods was the leader through the first 2 rounds. In the 3rd round, he fell behind, and then as they continued to go downhill, he finished at 6 over par, and again has not been able to win a major in 4 year. So tough break for Tiger Woods. Also kind of a weird thing to end the tournament just when you thought you'd seen it all, with Webb Simpson coming out of nowhere to win the U.S. Open and Jim Furyk stumbling down the last couple holes. A spectator jumped out to kind of ruin the celebration for Webb Simpson. Here's the clip.
Yeah, that was kind of the difference. I got off to a slow start, but I knew that I knew.
Always something to spice matters up.
Yeah, enjoy the jail cell, pal.
So a spectator had run onto the course when Bob Costas was interviewing Webb Simpson and proceeds to do some bird noises. Gets taken off by, some of the club members and stuff like that. The thing that gets me is Webb Simpson's comments. They came across a little bit douchey to me. I mean, this guy just won one major title. And again, this guy has failed to miss the cut on a lot of major tournaments. I don't think it's his place to say something like that. I think he could have handled it a bit better. But end of the day, this guy can enjoy his tournament win a while it lasts, because right now he is on top of the world of golf. And hopefully we see more from Webb Simpson in the future. Tune in next time as we preview Game 4 of the NBA Finals. I'd like to thank you all for listening to The Good, The Bad, The Teskey. Have a great night.